You know it. You tell the story. You tell the whole damn world this is Bear territory.
All right, baby.
Right. Coach, let's go. It's not often that you see a baseball team win 11 games in a row, but that's exactly what the Cal baseball team did earlier this season. Now, did I potentially jinx things a bit since then? Maybe. But it doesn't take away from the fact that even though our Golden Bears may be young and inexperienced this season, they've certainly overachieved and have been punching above their weight class on the diamond. Welcome to Tell the Whole Damn World. It's Monday, March 16th, 2026. Both the Cal men's and women's basketball teams will be hosting postseason games at Haas Pavilion, and it's another great day to be a Bear. I'm your host, Reza Serafinejad. We appreciate you tuning in. We're the podcast that celebrates all things Cal. We produce on-camera interviews with the prominent people who are passionate about our university and our sports teams. If you're unabashedly and unapologetically all about Cal, you've found the right place. We hope to put a smile on your face and help you come away feeling good about your connection to the greatest university on the planet. If you like what we're doing here, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and tell the whole damn world about us. We have a goal to get to over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and could really use your help in making that happen. Quick note for all of you, with the announcement yesterday that the Golden Bears are back in the postseason after a very long drought, you're going to want to tune into our men's basketball postseason special with Eddie, Matt, and John. We're planning to release that episode on Tuesday, so be on the lookout for that when it drops. We're going to get right into it this week, so let me bring in my co-host, Ahmad Anderson, the man who created Bear Territory and is running for mayor of Richmond, and together we'll spend some time talking with Mike New, the head coach of the Cal baseball team. Well, today we're talking Cal baseball. The Golden Bears are off to a hot start this season and already did something that hasn't been done in decades. They won 11 straight games for the first time since I was a senior in high school in 1989. There's a lot of new faces and a lot of excitement and energy building around the program, and we are honored to welcome back to the show the man leading it all, Mike New, the head coach of the Cal baseball team. Coach New was kind enough to join us on the show last year, way back in episode 17, when we were first getting started as a podcast. Welcome back to the show, Coach. Happy belated birthday. And before we get into it today, I've just got to ask you, how much fun are you having watching this team play right now?
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me. No, this is great. And yeah, it is a lot of fun. I mean, you get a lot of guys that are playing for each other and working hard, and you can see the excitement and the energy these guys bring. And we got a talented group and a lot of new guys, and it's nice to know you can kind of step back and just let these guys trust the work that they've done and just go play. And we've played really well. These guys have really gelled together well, and going into conference, it's always nice to have some momentum. And we did drop one, recently. We felt like we should have had 12, but we played well that game too. We made a couple mistakes, and we didn't quite get the hit we probably needed to at the right time. But these guys are still playing really good ball right now, and it's fun to watch these guys every day and just see them go about their work. They've been really professional the way they've gone about it. And yeah, I mean, anytime you win 11 in a row, you kind of just try to stay out of the way and just let them go do what they're doing. So it'll be good to get into conference with that type of energy. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Look here. I'm going to just tell you some inside stuff. No one else is probably listening, but Reza jinxed you. In our pre-production conversation, he says, Ahmad, look, this is going to be great. They're going to be 12 wins in a row. What a streak. Then he said, oh, wait a minute. And this is right during the game, like the day before the game, or we're talking, or this afternoon, he said, yeah, they're probably going to, anyway, scratch that. Well, there you go. So when you talk to the team, let them know Reza told the whole damn world it was gonna be 12 games. So that's what happened.
Oh, man, I thought we were too, man. I felt good about it. I felt good about the where we're playing, but baseball's a funny game like that, and, it's alright. Hopefully, we can, start a new one. That'd be good.
Look, I didn't mention it to anybody. I was like, "Damn, Reza." But anyway, but look, man, it is a super strong season. I'm just so impressed. But tell me what characterizes this team that is different from last year's team? Like, there's so many different variables, but what are you feeling and what are you seeing as a coach?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to, we went into the off season and we lost some guys the last couple years. We lost some guys to the draft. We lost some guys, to the transfer portal. And, we just had to kind of reset and figure out what our strategy was going to be and how we are going to construct this team, to put ourselves in position to win a championship because that's the goal. And, we're never going to win, the NIL world. We got to lean on, what our strengths are. And, we really went into it with the recruiting, um, you know, just way we're gonna go about it is look, we want guys that really want to be at Cal. They want to be at Cal
Yeah,
because they value
yeah,
the school, they value the education,
there
they
you go.
value the location, the area, and then we really, put it on our guys. Hey, these are our standards, these are our core values. We're about development, from every aspect on the field, off the field, and we're going to hold you accountable to these things. And if this is what you're about, you're going to love it here. You're not going to want to leave. You're going to feel like you're in the best place in the world. If you're not about those things, don't come here, because you're not going to like it. And we really went heavy on that, with our recruiting and then even just from the start of the season with the way that we went about everything, whether it's practice, whether it's scrimmages, whether it's, off the field, in the classroom. And,
Mhm.
our guys really bought into it. And I think it brought them closer together. It really elevated our ability to be accountable with our work ethic and our preparation. And the guys just did an amazing job. And I think we got a lot of guys in here that really feel like this is home for me. This is where I want to be. I love everybody that's here. I love the coaches. I love the staff. I love the university. I love, the alumni and the network that they are connected to. And when you have that, it just there's a ton of accountability, not only coming from the coaches but coming from each other. And then it's a lot of fun. You have fun coming to the field every day and putting in the work. And I think that's been a big change for us. And it came with learning, just learning how to be better in kind of this new world. And it doesn't mean that we're going to win every game, but we feel like we're going to get the most out of the guys that we have here because they're here for the right reasons. And I think
Sure.
that's what we've been seeing early on. And it doesn't get any easier. I mean, we're going into a really tough ACC schedule and we're going to play some great teams. But I
Yeah.
feel like we have a lot of confidence and we have a lot of guys that really care about each other and are playing for each other and are working hard and preparing the right way. And it makes our job as coaches easier because, we just holding guys accountable to the standard and just understanding that we have to do that every day. And
Yeah.
the more we do it, the more they do it for each other and the closer they get. And it's just been a lot of fun. And then we have some really talented guys. I mean, this is a talented group of guys. We got some guys that are back from injury, and we got some guys that gained some experience, and then we got some new guys and some freshmen that are really good players. And when you have some guys that are really bought into that, the new guys start to feel it, and they gel together quicker,
Yeah.
and they play for each other, at a really high level. And then the talent just elevates, and I think we're getting the most out of each other, and coaches too. We're all better for it too. So that's really been the thing that I think has been different from last year, and it's been really fun to be a part of. I'm having a great time coaching these guys. It's always great to win, but we want to focus on the process of how we do things every day. And if we do that, we know we're going to be in position to win games, and we're going to make mistakes. But as long as we learn from those things and get better and hold each other accountable to our standard, we know we're going to be in a good position.
Well, that's really the syncopation of the game for sure.
Well, I just got to ask you because early on, seeing this team play, the first game, I was like, "Uh oh, this may not be that great of a season because it was like, oh, we got crushed. But then we won walk off after walk off after walk off. And I mean, it was just so exciting to see. There may not be a better way to end a game than to walk it off. And I
Mhm.
mean, man, you guys just brought all this energy to it. Was there any kind of thing in any point during the early part of the season where you just kind of thought to yourself, this team might be special?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we knew two things. You know, we knew that we were a young and inexperienced team because even some of the older guys haven't played as much, you know, so we knew that there was going to be some learning going on while we were playing games, which was fine, you know, as long as we stay positive and we learn from our mistakes and get better, we knew that was going to happen. And then we also knew we had, you know, a much more talented group in general and a really tough competitive group, you know, so you feel like if you can learn, if you can you know, get those things ironed out and just understand what it takes to win games and how we're going to do it and really trust the process of that, you know, that with the talent level and the you know, healthiness that we had compared to last year, we had a chance to really be solid. You know, and obviously you win 11 in a row. I mean, it feels great, and there's always some things that have to fall into place. But we've gotten really hot, and it doesn't really surprise me. I mean, our players are really tight, really competitive. Our coaches have done a great job. You know, I think our, you know, Brett Wallace, our hitting coach, and Chris Bodeshbar, our pitching coach, and Anthony Gillich, you know, our infield and base running coach and catching coach. I mean, those guys have worked really hard and they've really put our guys in a great position, and they have a great relationship with the guys and you know, and all of our staff as well. Everybody's just bought into what we're doing, and it just makes it fun to come to the yard every day. And so it you know, it doesn't surprise me. I think these guys are capable of it, and it's shown. But we knew, you know, that we were going to have a couple bumps in the road, as any team does, but especially a team, you know, that's going to lack some experience in some areas, and we were ready for that, and we knew that we were just going to, hey, we're going to grind through it and continue to stay positive and learn, and that's going to be our mindset, and we have a collective mindset of that, and we're ultra competitive. We know we're going to put ourselves in a really good spot every game.
I was gonna say, you know, you talked about talent, and, you know, I played, ball and played a little baseball in my younger days and maybe had a shot if Coach Cap had said, "Yes, go do what Milano wants you to do, run some bases." But, and Rez has been around the game of sports, and so we know when we hear what talent means, but tell us what that secret sauce is. You've talked about a young group, of men, and then even some who are seasoned but yet lacks inexperienced, if you will. Um, what does that look like when you're putting that starting team together? And more importantly, when it really counts, when the starter is out or injured, and you have to bring the next batter up, if you will. What
Sure.
is that secret sauce?
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with the recruiting, you know, side of it, and just, you know, understanding when we're watching these guys and we're talking to these guys, you know, does the ability level, you know, give them a chance to perform well in the ACC, you know, when it comes to, you know, the arm talent, the athleticism, you know, the
Mm,
power, some of the tools that we know are going to be, you know, needed to be successful in this. So we really tried to recruit that, but you know, just as importantly is just the makeup. You know, what are these guys made of, and that's where we really put the core values on them. You know, what's how tough are they? Are they able to deal with adversity? You
mhm,
know, are they disciplined? Are they able to prepare? You know, because there's going to be a lot of adversity in this game in any
sure.
sport, really. But how you handle the adversity and
That's
the
right.
type of process and routine that you're able to stay committed to, that's going to really determine how you deal with the failure and how you know, work through some things that aren't always going to go your way. So, you know, I think we made a conscious effort to, you know, not only recruit guys we felt like we're going to embody those things, but then, you know, really hammer it home with our meetings and our practices and, you know, the way we go about everything from the cages to the locker room to the way we talk to each other and communicate and the way we go about our drills and our meetings. You know, we're going to really make sure that we're going to be tough, we're going to be disciplined, we're going to hold guys accountable to the standards that we think are going to embody those things. And when you have that group of guys with enough talent and they have that type of, makeup and internal drive, you're going to get better and you're
Hmm.
going to be prepared for those big moments. And there's going to be opportunities for walk-offs. There's going to
Yeah.
be opportunities to make big pitches and big moments. And that's not for everybody. Not everybody has, that inside them, their heart to be able to do it. So if we get those guys that have it and we train them, and that was really a goal of ours, is let's put our guys in the toughest, most adverse situations we can in practice. But, and realistically, we're going to get those in the games, and we're going to learn from those and get better. So, that was kind of the way we went about it. There's a talent portion in terms of tools, and then there's a makeup, part of it in terms of, their mindset and the psychological aspect. And we got some really tough dudes on this team, and we were just training their mindset every day to think about the things that are going to help them be successful in those situations. And we're just really putting that on them every day. And we already have some guys that are pretty good there. So, it's not like we're starting from square one. We're taking some pretty tough, talented guys and just training them to be tougher and more prepared in every situation. And you get those guys together, and man, they really love each other and love playing for each other. And it does allow what you said, Ahmad. I mean, you have the next man up. Whether
Yep.
you use the bullpen a little bit more that day, or you have an injury, or something comes up. And we've had some injuries, and the guys that have stepped up, in those roles have done really, really well. And we have a ton of confidence in them because we know that they're prepared. You want to go in as a coach understanding that these guys are ready. And we're not putting them in a position that they're not going to be successful, and we know that they have the ability and the mental capacity to be successful because of what they've done and who they are. And so when you put them in that, you have a lot of confidence in them when you put them in those situations. And early on, those guys have done that, and that's been really fun to see. I mean, that's the fun part of coaching, is to train them up and get to know them and understand who they are and how they compete, and then let them go play the game, the way that they know how to play it. And it's just so fun to see some of these moments early on, because these guys have worked really hard and they're really good, really, really good dudes.
Well, I think about some of that, and I think about the lessons learned, right? I always was sort of envious of basketball and baseball because they had long seasons. But what I've learned now in maturity of playing the game, having been a coach, but then also, sort of the sciences of the game as resident I've become, that you never lose. The X and the O's, the win comes, lose comes. Yeah, but you never lose. And those individuals understand what that means it's always a learning opportunity. Like, what can we do to get better tomorrow? Like in baseball, we play tomorrow. In football, we play next weekend. No, we play tomorrow in baseball. We play tomorrow in basketball. We have a tennis match tomorrow. It's different. And we don't have tournaments. You all go to tournaments. Basketball goes to tournaments. Tennis goes to tournaments. But you don't lose. And if you have that mindset that, hey, I'm gonna be right back here tomorrow to make a difference. We can change this around. And so I think about that. I think about what you lost in players, but now what you've gained. Like, as we watch the NIL, what does that look like in the transfer portal for baseball? Because we don't really hear about that. You've had to replace the players, like you said, the recruiting approach. We don't hear about that. So I would say we didn't lose. We definitely learned. And we would have been 12-game winning streak had it been for Reza, but we went 11 games in here. So tell us what that's like from that my crazy philosophy, but you tell me, you're the coach. What is
Yeah.
that? How does that play into you being the kind of coach and connecting with your players?
No, you're right. I mean, that's so important. And the great thing about baseball is you can impact the game so many different ways. I mean, obviously as a position player, it's we're gonna have games where we hit, and we're gonna score 12, 13 runs and everything's clicking, but you can impact the game on defense. You can impact the game on the bases. You can find a way to get on base. Whether you have a battle at bat and work a walk or get hit by a pitch or execute, a hit and run or a bunt. So, our preparation has to be good. We just there's a million different ways to win, and we want to be ready for every opportunity that the other team gives us and be
Hmm.
prepared for every situation that we have, and really even break it down more to, really, for us, a perfect game is to win every pitch. We know
Yeah.
that's impossible, right? You're not going to win every pitch, but we're going to be prepared to win every pitch, and that's our
That's
goal.
right.
And if we don't, get to that goal, we're still going to have a really really good game. And it might just be fighting off some pitches. It might be executing some pitches with runners in scoring position when we're on the mound, or making a play defensively because we understand the situation we're in, and we are going to make mistakes, but we're going to learn from those. We worked on some of those things today in practice. That we got
Hmm.
to get better at. There's so many different situations that pop up, and we're just going to try to be more and more prepared so we can play the game more free. And you don't have to think too much about what's going to happen. You're just going to go out there, play the game one pitch at a time, put yourself in position to go out there and play with the freedom that preparation gives you. And when you do that, you get to kind of allow just your god-given talent to take over, and you just go play, and that's our goal. And I think our guys have done a great job. And we haven't played a perfect game, but we've played some really really good games, and we've had some really good moments. And even when we've had some mistakes, we've been able to make it happen when the time is right. Whether it's a big hit or a big pitch, and that's kind of the mindset. So I think you're right. Having guys step up, and then just understanding that you can impact the game different ways, and really having a pitch by pitch focus and mentality that we're going to be ultra competitive, and we're never going to take a pitch off, whether we're, a tie game in the ninth inning or we're up by 12. It doesn't matter. We're going to play the game the same way. And when a situation comes up, we're going to be prepared for it. And our guys have done a great job of that. They really have. It's been awesome. We haven't wavered, whether we're up big or we're down or we're tied. They've stayed really steady. There's been they haven't pressed or tried to do too much, and they haven't taken their foot off the gas or been complacent. And we know that when you win, that can pop up. There can definitely be complacency, and our guys have done a good job, and we've obviously made sure we preach that as well.
Yeah.
But these guys have been very coachable, and they understand that you have to respect how difficult this game is and the work it takes to be good at this game. And when you lose respect for that, then you put yourself in a
Game over.
position that you don't want to be in.
It's game
So
over.
That's right.
it can be tough. Yeah. So it's been good. I mean, these guys have really they understand that, and that's our job as coaches to prepare them for that as well.
Seems to be working well, coach. Keep doing that. Keep doing that.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Love that answer. And I mean, you've talked a lot about mindset and building this culture here at Cal. You're now in your ninth season as head coach at Cal, and you could probably speak to this pretty well. But what is it about playing baseball at Cal that makes it different from anywhere else in the nation?
Yeah, I mean, that's I've gotten better, hopefully every year learning and understanding more. I mean, it helps that I grew up in the Bay Area, and I've been a Cal fan my whole life, and understand, what it means to go to Cal. And for me it's like I get to see it every year and every day when our guys, now these guys that I've coached. I mean, at this point, 9 years, but I was also the assistant for 4 years. So I mean, there's guys that I've coached that are coming back, and the alums, and it's just a special place in terms of like you get a chance to get a great degree. You get a chance to build a network of people that are lifelong friends and colleagues, and people that are gonna be there for you in the next phase of your life. And you're going to get a blue collar experience here where we know we're going to work hard for everything that we get. And there's a toughness here and a competitiveness here that's different. Nobody's entitled, and everybody understands that we're gonna work a little bit harder, and in every aspect, whether it's in the classroom or on the field. And it's just a special place. Like everybody you talk to here and that's been through it. They all are so grateful and just bleed the blue and gold because they understand what it means to be here and graduate from here
Yeah.
and be a part of it. And all of them are successful and better people because of the experience they've had and because of the friendships they've made. And I'm just, I feel really lucky to be a part of it and see it and now see it as these guys come back and hear their stories and their experiences and, the things that they remember, so it's really special. And I think that's the biggest thing that we've really tried to do is like, let's lean into that, man. I mean, we're in this new world. When everybody else kind of zigs, we're going to zag. And we have something really good to lean into here when it comes to Cal and all the things that make it special. And I've just like learned that more and more every year. But it really forces you into that a little bit more when you're in the world and guys can transfer and there's NIL and all these different things that come up. And it's just, you know, we just take a step back and be like, man, we're at a pretty special place with a lot of really special people. Let's just highlight that and lean into
Yep.
that and let's be transparent about who we are and what we believe in.
That's
And then
right.
it just feels so good to recruit guys like that because I mean, realistically, these guys, I don't really feel like I'm recruiting them. I think, it's just like, hey, if this is a fit, this is for you. You're more recruiting us a little bit, and it just feels really pure and transparent and true. And then when you get these guys in here and get them to meet our alums and the people that are supporting our program, it just feels right. And so, I think you guys both know that, and I think all the people that have gone here and played here and gone to school here understand that. And now we're just, we're telling that story, really proud and really excited about it. And if it's not for you, no big deal, man. That's fine.
Yeah.
If it is for you, you're a pretty lucky person because you get a chance to be a part of something really special, not only now but for the rest of your life.
That's right.
Say
That's
that.
right. No, it's nicely said.
So look, wasn't really a baseball player, until I grew up around guys like Shooty Babbitt and Brian Gwynn. Those guys were mine. Grew up as kids together, and so I used to hang out. Right, like I said this before, and my dad said, "Go play the game, join them." So the piece that I think now for folks that were me, who didn't have that opportunity to get kicked out and kicked into the game, having guys who grew up like that, what should we know? Those folks who are casual baseball fans just sort of walk by and say, "Oh, I'm going to check it out," or maybe just what is it they don't know that is so hard about college baseball? What are the challenges for the guys? Going to Cal is a challenge in itself, but what is a
Sure.
challenge for them? The school piece, but maybe even the desire because they could leave tomorrow and go play professionally. What is that for? What is that like? I didn't go to college, or I do go to college, or what is that in their mind when things get rough or when they're doing well?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely yeah, special experience to play college baseball. You have a chance to, you know, being in the professional world. It's definitely more individualized in the pro game until you get to the big leagues, and then you're trying to win a championship. In the minor leagues, you're trying to get to the big leagues, and you want to win games. I mean, that doesn't change. If you're a competitor, but you are playing for all the teams. Really, you could be traded, you could be released and picked up. There's all these different teams that you could potentially play for, and you want to move up in the organization. When you're playing here, you're playing with your best friends that you're going to do everything with. You're going to live with these guys. You're going to lift with these guys. You're going to eat with these guys. You're going to practice with these guys. You're going to go through adversity with these guys when it comes to, how tough some of the things are with whether it's practice or, being held accountable or in the weight room or getting up early to go lift or coming back late from a trip. You're going through all these things with these guys that are hard, and that only brings you closer together and you're playing as probably the most true team that you're ever going to play for. So that experience is unbelievable. Especially when you have a successful team, it just elevates it. But also yeah, I mean, it's challenging. There's a lot of challenges. Your day is going to be filled, between, the weights and, the practice schedule and the academics and, the preparation that is necessary to be great. It's a lifestyle. It's
Yes.
once you get off the field, you have to take care of your nutrition and your sleep and your mobility and your recovery and your
Right.
hydration. And these are things that we all stay on top of, obviously. And we're, training guys to be the best, because if you are trying to be the best, then you want every edge that you can get, but you have to be accountable to doing those things every day. So there's a lot of challenges and there's a lot of adversity, because, you can do all these things right and you can still have failure, so now you got to deal with the failure and come back the next day and brush it off and be ready to compete, and it's just part of the deal. So there's some special things and there's some really challenging things, but it's an experience that is rare, and the guys that get to experience it, it's just something you carry with you for the rest of your life
Yeah.
in every area of your life.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
I think that's kind of the overhead version of it. And I know those guys like Brian Gwynn and Shooty, could say the same thing, man. Those guys have been through it, and they've been through it at a high level, and they're
Yep.
they've coached it and seen all these different things too. So, and those guys were great players, but I don't care how good you are in high school, you're going to have challenges at the next level, because there's really good players here, and there's really prepared guys and guys that are really devoted to their craft and their game. And you have to learn and get to that level and above that level to be successful here. And there's some really talented guys that have some wake up. I don't care how talented, you're going to get some wake up calls at some point, like, all right, man, I got to be better. And everybody goes through it. Every guy that's ever played the game or sports in general, you're
Uh-huh.
gonna have that, wake up call. And that's why you just do need that second gear, of makeup and toughness to be able to get through that. And, we're gonna have opportunities to get better and learn, and we have to be motivated to be able to do those things to have success at this level.
Well, I mean, you talked about a lot of things there, coach, but I mean, it's like this shared experience that you have when you're part of this team at this point in your life that creates these lifelong bonds, and you're a family. You're far more than just a team. You actually become a family. And the Cal baseball community, unfortunately, lost someone very near and dear to everyone. Coach Bob Milano, who passed away late last year. In his longtime career as head coach of the Golden Bears, he took the Golden Bears to 3 college World Series. What can you tell us about your relationship with Coach Milano?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up, like I said, in the Bay Area, and Cal is where I wanted to go. And my path, went a little different way, and I wouldn't change it for anything. Got a chance to, win a national championship and go through that part of it. But I did, get a chance to meet Coach Milano more as a coach here. And, he would come around and, obviously just a magnetic personality, a guy that everybody loved. And when he would come around, I mean, the way that he knew the game, understood how to communicate, and also just be a guy that was just loved because of his personality and his sense of humor, and those things, they just shine through every time you were around him. And I think, the thing that I like the most is I got to see all these guys that have played for him and have relationships with these guys and hear them talk about him. And, they always talked about the same thing. He was just able to thread the needle of really pushing these guys to be the best, but also caring about them almost like a second father, to them. And that's not easy to do, because you do have to really push guys, and you gotta hold them accountable to a standard, but you also have to understand that it's more than baseball, and they're going through a lot. And I think Coach Milano was, A+ when it came to that. He just these guys, he truly cared about these guys as people, and he truly pushed them as players. And when you hear them talk about him, it's just amazing to hear, how much of an impact he left on them and their families, and continue to stay in contact with them, even after they were gone. And, it takes a special person to understand that that's really what, coaching is you're mentoring and you're building relationships, and it's not transactional. Of course we want to win games, but if the only reason that you're in it is to win games, you're going about it the wrong way. And Coach Milano was not about that. And they had a ton of success, and they had so many great players come through here, but you could just tell the way that he interacted, communicated, and cared about his guys was just at a whole new level. And it's just the reason that he got so much support and did so well. And so many people, continue to come back, and for all the things that he was a part of after he was done coaching. And then obviously, in his memorial, and you just continue to see it. So just a special guy, and got to see it firsthand. And then even just get to hear it from the former players, which is it tells the story even more.
That's right. That's nicely said, Coach.
Very good. So, what do you want to tell the Cal fans about why they should support the team, but also if someone hasn't been to a game before, why should they come out to Stu Gordon Stadium? Like, what is the energy like? What is the synergy about? Why should I come?
Yeah, no, I think it's a hidden gem. We have continued to get more and more people, coming out to the games. I mean, the talent level is obviously fun. I mean, you're gonna watch a high level of baseball in an intimate stadium, where everybody's kind of in there close, and you really get to see, what the players on the field are doing and how they're communicating. You're seeing future pros on the
Yeah.
field. You're seeing a great group of guys that are gonna play really fundamental, tough, competitive baseball. And, you get to have a beer at the game too, with
Uh-oh.
the setup and the whole thing there. I mean, we got the great weather. Even this weekend's going to be unbelievable. I mean, shoot, man, I don't, I can't think of too many better places to be, than
Yeah.
coming out to Stu Gordon Stadium, watching, a great team play in the ACC, and just a high competitive level of baseball, and have a beer. I mean, shoot, man, I don't know. It's a pretty good day if you're
Look,
going to do
I'll tell
that.
you
So
this,
I
Coach.
don't see any reason not to do it.
What I've noticed, and I dip in because I'm on campus on the weekends, but what I've noticed is that with the ACC, those teams travel well. I mean, I look in the stands sometimes and I think, where am I? And it's not that they overwhelm, but they come when the team comes, their family comes, their fans come. That creates, I think, more excitement for Cal fans to say, well, you sure came a long way to lose, but welcome to Bear territory. You know,
That's
that,
right. That's
that's what
right.
I
Yeah.
see. And
Yeah.
I like
That's
walking in and I get a lot of clout. They let me in. I'm able to say, hi, how are you? In general, I'm at a board meeting, so I have my board gear on. So it is such an honor. One, I know you. So knowing you, but knowing you as a coach as well, and then seeing the development of your players, it is exciting. So those of you folks are sitting inside this weekend during we're having this great weather, get out, get to the game, and watch the Bears play ball, baby.
That's right. That's right.
I
I mean,
love it.
hey, you should not sleep on Cal baseball
No,
this season because I'll tell
no.
you, I mean, this team, Coach New has got them playing. They're very resilient, and there's just a lot of excitement. And there's not a bad seat to be found there at
Right.
Stu Gordon Stadium. So I hope to see you at the Stew, like I always like to say. But hey, Coach, we sincerely appreciate you making the time. I know you're super busy here, but we wish you the best of luck the rest of the way. And just thank you for just making the time to talk ball because it's always just a pleasure to talk to you about baseball. You just are such a tremendous mind to talk about all of this. And I love the culture that you have installed here at Cal. So thank you so much for everything you're doing.
No, you guys are awesome, and Mod's got me fired up. He's got his baseball jersey on. He's ready to
Man,
go.
come on, man.
He's ready.
Look, I, I,
He's ready.
I, I, I I was looking for my glove, but I couldn't find it. But I look at batter,
You
swing.
you need a base runner.
I love it. I
All
love it.
right, well, we'll end it the way we always end it and say, "Go Bears!"
Go
Go
Bears.
Bears.
All
All
right.
right.
Good to see you, Coach.
We always enjoy spending some time with Coach New. He's been a big fan of the podcast since the very beginning, and he's worked tirelessly to elevate the Cal baseball program. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We appreciate all of you out there listening and watching. And remember, if you live in Richmond, please give your vote to my co-host, Ahmad Anderson, to be the next mayor of Richmond. There's no question he will do wonders for the city of pride and purpose. This podcast is entirely a labor of love and a reflection of how much we love our university. Please help grow this podcast by telling the whole damn world about us. You can always go to our YouTube channel to watch any of our previous episodes. And if you'd like to buy some awesome TTWDW merchandise to help support the podcast, you can always go to tellthewholedamnworld.com. We celebrate all things Cal and the prominent people who are passionate about the University of California. Do you feel Cal is the center of the universe? Do you bleed blue and gold? We want you to tell the whole damn world about it. Go Bears!
You know it.